Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Sessions, music, dance, and storytelling at the Oakland Museum. We're so excited to see you here today. Thank you for coming. This is our new pilot series. This is free Thursdays and Saturdays at noon. We've got an incredible lineup of Bay Area and California artists, so we hope you will come back and enjoy. I'm particularly thrilled about this collection of incredibly inspiring and beautiful humans that are on stage today. So I will very quickly turn it over so you can hear more about what's happening today. But just a few announcements on the museum side. While you're here, you can visit our Dia de los Muertos altar, honoring COVID-19 victims that's located on the lower level here outside of the Natural Sciences Gallery. No ticket is required. You're welcome to join us and visit that today. And then in our, we have a new installation honoring our beloved Oakland artist Hung Lu, who recently passed. 4 of her pieces from OMCA's collection are on view in the back of our Gallery of California Art on the upper level. So we welcome you to check that out as well. Please feel free to join us up here. We love having audience. We love being back in person. So you're welcome to join us up here in our chairs. Grab a blanket or a jacket and hang out on our lawn. We do have lunch up in our cafe. Welcome you to visit our store as well while you're here. And so, without further ado, this is our second of 4 of a co-production, co-produced in partnership with Nomadic Press. They are based here locally in Oakland. And through publications, events, and active community participation, Nomadic Press collectively weaves together platforms for intentionally marginalized voices to take their rightful place within the world of the written and spoken word. For more information, please visit nomadicpress.org. And without any more ado, please give a round of applause, and I'm going to turn it over to JK.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday lunchtime session. I'm JK, publisher at Nomadic Press. Many thanks to Emily and everyone at the Oakland Museum family for putting this together and for the invitation for us to be here. I'm going to hand it quickly over to Nazila Jameson, our MC for this lunchtime session. Nazila is a Bay Area-based performance poet, author, actor, vocalist, and MC. Her first book of poetry, Evolutionary Heart, was released on Nomadic Press in 2016. Her work can also be found in Culture Counts magazine, The Racket Journal, issue 15, and others. In her spare time, Nazila enjoys writing horror screenplays and saving the day. She hosts the Nomadic Press Virtual Open Mic every Friday on Zoom and gives the best hugs in the Bay Area. That is true. Nazila.com for more. Let's give a warm welcome to Nazila Jameson.
Hello. Hello. Thank you for joining. Ooh, it's a bunch of y'all. Hi. Hi, kids. Welcome to this lunchtime special, this very special lunchtime session. It's good to see you all. If you are far away, feel free to come and sit closer if you'd like. There's enough room to socially distance in these chairs in front of the performers right here. But if not, there's also some special sun that you can sit in and enjoy the day. So welcome. We're so glad you came. We have a lot of good stuff for you to eat and sit out in the sun to. Our first performer is a clinical psychologist and artist who uses her cello, voice, and music performance to study and represent aspects of self and other, community, and the natural world. Similar to the collaborative lens from which she approaches her psychotherapy practice, her artistic collaborations lead with curiosity, honesty, humility, and humor. She has collaborated on Grammy award-winning albums with the DeYoung Museum, and most recently on a Pixar 2D animated short. She lives in the California Bay Area with her husband and their young son. She cares about community, interconnectivity, and nature. She released her first full-length album entitled Margaret in the Wild this July of this year. And I am excited because this is the first time we've actually seen each other in person after this past year of Zoom lockdown. Please welcome the lovely Mia Pixley. PhD.
Thank you so much, Celia. Yes, and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. So this first song is actually inspired by the Earth's core. I wrote it for a friend of mine who was just telling me about the Earth's core one day, and I was like, dang, that's amazing. So that the Earth's core is actually like hotter than the surface of the sun is kind of blows my mind, and that we're on top of it right now, all of us, no matter where we are in the world. So, and there's so much happening underneath the surface of the Earth, just like in our bodies. So this one's called Core. Thank you, thank you. So this next one is a cover from the color purple. It's called Miss Seeley's Blues, and it's dedicated to everyone who needs it right now. Okay. Sister, you've been on my mind. Sister, we're two of a kind, so sister, I'm keeping my eyes on you. I bet you think I don't singing these blues. Sister, have I got news for you? I'm something. I hope you think that you're something too. Yeah, you. Scuffling, I've been up that lonesome road and I've seen a lot of suns going down. Oh, but trust me, no lowlife's gonna run me around. Oh, let me tell you something, sister. You've been on my mind, sister. We're two of a kind, so sister, I'm keeping my eyes on you. Yeah. Scuffling, I've been up that lonesome road and I've seen a lot of suns going down. Oh, but trust me, no lowlife's gonna run me around. Oh, have I told you lately, sister? Remember your name, don't let no twister gonna steal your stuff away, my sister. We sure ain't got a whole lot of time. So shake your shimmy, sister. 'Cause honey, this sugar is feeling fine. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for Mia Pixley. See, you're already having the best afternoon you've ever had. See how that happened? You're welcome. All right. Our first author writes books and makes things. She founded the Lower Bottom Players and Bammed Fest. She is the producer of Bammed Fest. Her books, The Horse Eaters and Sorrowland Oracle, are available from Nomadic Press. Her book, Incandescent, is available at most digital and small press outlets. Please welcome the inaugural Poet Laureate of Oakland, Ayodele Nzinga.
In the beginning, before the day wakes up, I am whole, dreaming the world as it should be. I fly in my dreams. I can see in my dreams. The dead whisper in dreams, I listen. They have let go of sorrow. Their dreams have become directions, maps, charts. I understand them. Sometimes they want me to write it down, sometimes to say it, sometimes just to know it. I listen, I remember. I am their voice. They gave me mine. I am the opening, they hold the curtains. I am the tributary, they are the river. I am a pebble, they are the mountain. I remember. Then, the world's engine begins. The lights come on, the merry-go-round starts, trauma wakes up. It gets hard to hear, hard to see, hard to remember what I deserve, who I am. The voices from the mountain. The sun rises, I fracture. One who remembers, one who battles the engine, to make time, to write it down, to say, just to know. See, I'm Black Alice, fractured, preying on the one day maybe, one not enough, now not enough, yesterday or the day before. I am Black Alice, running twice as fast to stand right in the same place today as yesterday and the day before. Twice as qualified, not allowed to fail, reaching each mark, even though they keep changing, forced to be magic, feared for being magic, looking for magic, to move the pendulum. I can't be standing here tomorrow in black and white. I invite you to imagine me as I am, fiercely beautiful, a black and white negative growing in the shade of contempt like a desert rose, fragrant in the funk of it, unbowed, refusing to be broken, being everything else, and then some more. Because tallness is required here. I got wings, flying over the pits, snares, traps, sticky don't stick. I write me clearly. Black lines on a white page, a force you can't, never did, never will own, beautifully unruly. A poor subject for oppression. You prayed to me as you prayed on me, Hottentot. I will outlive it. I will outlive you. Fed by dreams of slaves you did not free, I will live in the leanest prayer of tomorrow, fed well on determination. I am the Alpha, hailing Omega, a breathtaking contradiction, only going forward, connected to the ocean like it birthed me. It did. Whispers to me, tales of glory shadowed by infamy. North American, African, Olokun holds my keys, you can't touch me. You only know the myth you created of me. Imagine me as I am. I burn like fire. You will remember if we crossed paths. I am the taste in your mouth that reminds you of who you are, where you walked, who you pushed into the darkness of inhumanity. You don't define me. You cannot. I am a song you can't sing. I'm a dance you have no steps for. A sublime verse in a language you don't speak. Imagine me as I am. The black and white of it, where we are, understand clearly. The ocean has a memory. The dust has a memory. I have a memory. Remember that when you imagine me.
Yes, y'all, the Oakland Poet Laureate. All right. Our next author is a poet, movement worker, and educator. His last curriculum on extrajudicial killing of Black people, We Charge Genocide Again, has been used as an educational and organizing tool throughout the country. His book titled Someone's Dead Already was nominated for a California Book Award. His book, Heaven is All Goodbyes, was published by the City Lights Pocket Poets series, was shortlisted for the Griffin's Poet Prize and won a California Book Award and an American Book Award. He is San Francisco's 8th Poet Laureate. His new book, Blood on the Fog, was just released by City Lights. Please welcome Tongo Ison Martin.
I go to the railroad tracks and follow them to the station of my enemies. A cobalt-toothed man pitches pennies at my mugshot negative all over the United States. There are toddlers in the rock. I see why everyone out here got in the big cosmic basket and why blood agreements mean a lot and why I get shot back at. I understand the psycho-spiritual refusal to write white history or take the glass freeway. White skin tattooed on my right forearm, ricochet sewage near where I collapsed into a rat-infested manhood. My new existence is living graffiti. In the kitchen with a lot of gun cylinders to hack up. House of God in part, no cops in part. My body brings down to Christmas. The new bullets pray over blankets made from the old bullets. Pray over the 28th hour's next beauty mark. Extrajudicial Confederate statue restoration, the waistband before the next protest post. Hey, by the way, time is not an illusion, Your Honor. I will save your desk for last. You're witty, Your Honor. You're moving money again, Your Honor. Hey, it is only raining one thing. Non-white cops and prison guard shadows reminded me of spoiled milk floating on the oil spill. The neighborhood making a lot of fuss over its demise. A new lake for a Black Panther party. Malcolm X's ballroom jacket slung over my son's shoulder. The figment of village. A new noose to a new white preacher, all in an abstract painting of a president. Bought slavery some time, didn't it? The tantric screeches of military boats and election Tuesday cars, a cold-blooded study in leg irons, proof that some white people have actually fondled nooses. The sundown couples made their vows of love over opaque piece plastic and boat action audiences. The Medgar Evers II is definitely my favorite law of science. Fondled news clippings and primitive Methodists, my arm changes imperialisms. Simple policing versus structural frenzies. Elementary school script versus even wider white spectrums, artless bleeding and the challenge of watching civilians think. The terrible rituals they have around the corner, they let their elders beg for public mercy. I'm gonna go ahead and sharpen these kids' heads in the arrows myself and see how much gravy spills out of family crest. Modern fans of war with their t-shirt poems and t-shirt guilt and me having on the cheapest pair of shoes on the bus. I have no choice but to read the city walls for signs of my life. A tour guide through your robbery, they also are. Cigarettes saying, look what I did about your silence. Ransom water and box spring gold, this decade is only for accent grooming, I guess. Ransom water and box spring gold, the corner store must die. War games, I guess, all these tongues rum is junk. The start of mass destruction begins and ends in restaurant bathrooms that some people use and other people clean. Are you telling me it's a rag in the sky? Waiting for you, yes. We've written the same, we set a stage, we should have fit in. Warehouse jobs are for communists, but now more corridor and hallway have walked into our lives. Now the whistling is less playful and the barbed wire overcrowded too, my dear. If it is not a city, it is a prison. If it has a prison, it is a prison, not a city. When the courtyard talks on behalf of military issue, all walks take place outside of the body. Dear life to your left, the medieval painting to your right, none of this really makes an impression. Crowd people living in thin air, you have 5 minutes to learn how to see through this breeze. When the mask goes sideways, barbed wire becomes a floor, barbed wire becomes a roof, 40 feet into the sky, becomes out of bounds. When the mask breaks in half, mind which way the eyes go. You know they killed the world for the sake of giving everyone the same backstory. We watching Gary, Indiana fight itself into the sky. Old pennies for wind, for that wind feeling you get before the hood goes up and over your headache. Pennies that stick together, mocking all aspirations. I mean, Stuck Together Pennies was the first newspaper I ever read, along with the storefront dwelling army that always lets us down, where the Holy Spirit favors the backroom souls in the situation that offer 100 ways to remain a loser. Souls watching the clock, hoping their eyes don't lie to sad people. What was we talking about again? The narrator asked the graveyard, a 10 minutes flat, said the graveyard, the funeral only took 10 minutes. Never tell that to anyone again. You just gonna pin the 90s on me, all 30 years of them. Then why should I know the difference between sleep and satire? The pyramid of corner stores fell on our heads. We died right away. That building wants to climb up and jump off another building. These are downtown decisions somewhere on this planet. It's August 7th that we running down the rest thinking one more needs to come with me. What evaporated on Earth so that we could be sent back down? You know, societies wander together like hopeful drops of a virus. Citizen Testament's been on offering me a nation of breadwinners to hold me back like it's a Brinks. I wrinkle the concrete sometimes like flesh. My Martin Luther King permanence turned away from a podium into the reeds like God is a dangerous twin. Black August to the mountaintop balcony on my bedroom floor. You know they steal you from the earth itself. and suspend you in your broken neck from their foolish euphoria, from the loyalty oath of their gray superstitions, loyalty oath of their agrarian reform. I return to my mother completely disrespected for peeling the heat off of purgatory. They kill poets like me, walk me away from my poems, never to be heard from again in this foul industrial complex of bloodlines picked over, picked through a sport and spiritual death of your devil at least half made. Police become a pretty word. I'm reading a lynch mob shoestrings like they were tea leaves, teaching you how to write about cities. It's the 25th century in the mirror, people. Tyranny against your chump change, you're a chump to be mocked even with a gun in your car. A cubit of needlework spelled tune for the proletariat, the relapse ministry. Talented people curled up in a fetal position next to a diamond dime. Just another service day in the theatrics of tea house fascism and a bouquet of surveillance cameras in the poverty of God. New blue eyes, corpses of water, newly potted presidency. A one big shiny coin if you ask animated capitalism and other non-literal voids. Killing is white freedom, the deification of hyphens, medicine bread and picture shows. Great protesters in L.A. Guests of our ink, drop kicking rows in the graveyard. DC Mink like a stone torn in half. The pen advances despite CIA guideposts, despite non-African passive futures. A metaphorical but not surreal day in a horn-ridden life, horn player improvising king. Like a radio prize fight featuring Shango himself. A real hand sweeps the land of racism. May I return to the ground? May I make progress with the gun? Our mother Emmanuel, they put on music that evening. A swinging type body language for you to drink with fermented $5 bills for your body language. Some applause, my past stomach lining. Neither a good thing nor a bad thing, like being psychic on the way to a lethal injection. It'll sit you down with Lady Day. Lady Day leading youth who surrendered their souls to Africa too soon. Polity thought floating in the cup of water, she saved me. Accessing my stomach, accessing the love of the American lynch. Coast leaves wooden avalanche into the wrist. Our mother Emmanuel, avalanche into the sharp keys. Pain, the deal you make with pain. Piano makes sense for them. Laying hands on the world gradually. Addressing abandoned necks on the streets of the north. Traveling, sailing in pain, repeating pain in the north. 10 trigger fingers on that piano if harmony would have me. Putting 100 fights on every direction offered her. Lady Day, leaning on trees again, recruiting the countryside itself, saying, lay your plan out on this lightning, make your poems the corner pocket of men. I've greeted the blues itself. America may clean my dead body, but will never include me. There goes the poet, killing without killing. Never mind this painting of your language. May I be a meaningful lynching, a crow's passing, good and dead by the afternoon.
The very tall San Francisco poet laureate, Tongo Isa Martin, y'all. So one thing that we don't generally get at performances or readings is to talk to the performers or readers. So you are in for a treat here because we are going to have a very rare public conversation between these two poet laureates. And so you can clap for conversation. Ayodele and Tongo, y'all.
Is this on? Yes, it is. It's not on enough.
Hello. It's sort of.
Is it sufficiently on now?
It's on. Hello.
How are you?
It's not bad. How are things on your side? On your side?
Man, I'm living a life. I just, up close, personal, got to sit in your presence as you spit,
Yeah.
Nah, yeah, the great one's always humble. It's like, it's always an honor to hear how you bend language to your will in the service of painting light, So I'm feeling pretty good. How you guys feeling?
That was one hell of a compliment, man.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm frozen in time right now.
Hey, no. What were you telling me right before we went on? What'd you say the brother said you were his?
I'll be forgetting, man.
You be forgetting.
I forget where. Nah. Does anybody have questions for the poet laureate of Oakland?
Would anybody like the fortune told? The sun's going to come up tomorrow. And in the end, we all win. There you go. All right? Does anybody have any questions for the poet laureate of San Francisco?
said, "You've had enough of." He said, "I've had enough of this."
So it really wasn't sufficiently on.
Yeah, I told you something was going on. It just didn't feel right.
So I'm going to show you what happens when you come to a place and they let you ask people questions, and you don't ask them questions. This is what happens. You, young man, in the really cool shirt right there, in a pink, blue, tie-dye, amazing shirt, do you like poetry? Why? Don't know, but it's good? I'm going to take that. That's really nice. How about your friend? Does your friend like poetry? Sometimes. Did you like poetry today? Be very careful. It's a long way between your seat and there. It was interesting? That's nice. Poetry should be interesting. There's so many things you could have said, like it was boring. No, I didn't like it today. Interesting? That's really high up on my list. Yeah? Yes. What is my writing routine? I bleed words. I think of hooks in my sleep. The news reminds me of things. I write on the back of checks, paper bags. There's writing in the margin of all of my books. It's like kind of a way of taking pictures. You know, I've always got a notebook with me, and so there are always fragments of thoughts. Sometimes things come whole cloth. I just get to channel them, and so they drop down. They already know what they want to say. Those kinds just sort of pour out, you know? What's your writing routine?
I'm pretty square, man. You know, I just set a little time out during the day to do the best I can in that notepad. Usually put on the clock about 2 hours, and then just see what happens. Yeah.
So 2 hours daily is what you aspire to?
It's crucial, you know, because you got to take yourself. I found that I'm most lucid when I'm writing outside of even possibilities of euphoria. So, you know, often, you know, when you first start off, and it's natural, and you have the knack, you write kind of dancing with inspiration, you know, just that kind of that energy. But after a while, in order to really see what's making these ideas tick, it's actually I found it helpful to actually be a little bored and frustrated. and so by putting a timer on, it makes it impossible to search for vibe. And I had to just deal with all of the little nuances of language that I can play with. And so that's the general strategy. Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, like it sounds like she said, "Do you ever write poems personally that you're not going personal write that you won't share?" I say about 95% of my writing will never see the light. You know what I mean? And keep it to myself. You know what I mean? For sure.
I think that there's a lot that's just never going to be shared. Some because it was very internal and cathartic. It was actually where perhaps something got healed, shifted, or moved, and so it inspired a body of work that was intended to be shared. Some of it's not shared because it's garbage, you know, and not everything that your pen puts on the paper is golden. I think that was one of the lessons for me in learning how to write is the things that don't make the page. I think it was Michelangelo who said the figure's always in the stone. and that the job of the artist actually is not to carve the figure, it's to remove the stone that obscures your vision of the art that's inside. So I've got tons and tons of starters and prompts that are the things that were obscuring the vision of what was inside. So, yeah. So how many writers are there here? Yeah? All right. Are there other questions? Help us here. We want you to be interested. We want you to be this to be a scintillating afternoon. Thank you, sir. You want that one first?
Yeah, I can talk. Uh, it is a man. There's so many layers to that because we are speaking in the oppressor's tongue. But at the same time, I feel like I have so many more dimensions than a white ruling class. Allow me to show you what you can actually do with this with this language is the kind of meditation. You know, I don't try to there's certain mathematics you might lose your mind pursuing, so I don't try to orient myself too much to like what comes out on the back end, as much as I just try to put energy and exertion into how I live on the front end and how I experience reality at any given second, with the objective being to give things space and attention, you know. The human, we haven't begun to understand the brilliance of the human mind, you know. Like, think about dreams you have, right? Like, you'll put together a whole landscape you've never seen, people you've never seen, and conversations that you've never had, and just like that, it's available, you know. In that way, writing is almost like, well, just how can you relax into the discoveries of these new, you know. So it's almost like, you know, just talking to like, you know, I can construct a dialect, you know, or construct some kind of surreal interpretation of one. Or even, you know, I think some of the most interesting lines are actually are almost it's like when the painting becomes the canvas as well and can be activated in different ways. So there are interesting lines that can be animated with different postures and different personalities and this type of thing, you know. I think it's, you know, but again, all just according to how fluid you are, how fluid you can keep your mind. But my favorite poet, I wish. See, I can't read any other language. But my favorite poet, well, I'm gonna have to give it to Audrey. But my close second favorite poet is Roque Dalton. Everybody should read that. There's an anthology of his called Small Hours of the Night. This is all Spanish. He was a Salvadorian poet, you know, man, I wish I could, you know, because I know there's certain musicality I'm missing, but you know, I think the knack is the knack, the gift is the gift, and there's all kind of groovy minds to engage. Yeah.
I love your question. That was such a fat question for this space. Um, I love Khalil Gibran. I love Rumi. Um, Negritude poets that often wrote in French are really of interest to me in my ear. New Yorican poets and how they fuse Spanglish is always really dope to me. Language is dangerous. We tell people that sticks and stones will break your bones, words will never hurt you. That's what you tell people who have no verbal skills to make them feel secure in a world constructed by words. English is a violent language. It also has soft spots. It's really interesting. Which English, first of all? The King's English or Samuel Webster's English invented for Americans? Language has a worldview embedded inside. Watiyango, an African scholar, says that you cannot ever be free speaking the oppressor's language exclusively. You must have your own language. I believe deeply that Ebonics is a language. It is understood, it's dangerous, that's why it's so maligned. I think that its persistence has everything to do with the fact that language contains a worldview, and it is hard for North American Africans to just disappear and become American, because perhaps our view, which is off-center, understands that America isn't quite through baking yet, so it's kind of hard to be a thing that isn't a thing quite yet. So the idea of deploying English, which is an outside language, and being able to manipulate it to break its rules, to create my own rules, to sample everything from James Brown to myself, to invert it, and then to slip effortlessly between it and Ebonics and back again, creates a different sort of experience. I think it's a different space for me as the speaker, the story that I can tell, but it puts me in relationship with my audience in a different way, in the physical and also on the page, where perhaps there's more time to contemplate what's actually going on here, the back and forthness of the language. So yeah, I agree with Tungo. The gift is the gift is the gift. It is the philosophy within, along with the deftness in which it's conveyed, that equals poetry. But there's so much in your question, because the understanding of language allows you to build in another 3 or 4 layers. And it's also interesting that language itself, any language, is only 23% verbal. So there's all the other things that compose and make language whole. So thank you for that. Yes.
In what ways do you think poetry or writing can be used to address inequities in San Francisco?
I think that
In what ways can poetry address inequities in Oakland and San Francisco?
I think first we have to make sure we're talking the same language here. You have to understand, I don't believe in art for art's sake, okay? So art is another way of knowing, a way of communicating, and so it can be the truth. It can bring a people's attention to something that they might not normally think about. I mean, how often do you think about what it feels like to be a Black woman in America? So here, doing a set, I get to draw you inside how I experience that. it gives you the opportunity to consider it. It, like all language and words, can intrude in your life in a way and make you know things you did not know before. We've all had those moments where you think about, wow, it's actually somebody's job to put the tip on the mattress. Of course it is. But who goes around thinking about things like that unless they're brought to you? So I think that art sits in a perfect space. You can appreciate it intellectually, but I don't think people actually change their minds because of what they know intellectually. We change our minds because of what we feel in our hearts. And so for me, language and poetry can be both a balm, a thing that makes you feel seen and touched and made well, whole, and it is a weapon. Art is a weapon. And so I purposely sometimes want to wound people because there are places where we've collected a lot of poison, a lot of sickness, like when you get a splinter when you're little and it can't get well. It just hurts, and the sickness actually gets bigger and bigger. And so somebody smarter than us sticks a needle in there, and we push out all that pus, and then we can get well. So I think poetry can be intellectually stimulating. It can touch a person's heart. It can wound us in a way that we can choose to get well. And it also makes the field clear when we don't choose to get well.
Yeah, right on, give it up for that. I would just add that I think the meditation is every single thing you do during the course of the day needs to be addressing inequity at this point. Whatever, regardless of what your craft or your comfort zone is, because if time ever looked like it was up, I mean, we have biblical signs right now. The sun will be gone for, a week out the year. You look at the neo-Confederate tendency that showed itself again this last little election cycle, right? Those 74 million people that said we were cool living in a Ku Klux Klan society, right? The performance started on January 6th, like so much is coming home to roost right now. And so really the meditation is, well, is there even a life outside of addressing inequality or oppression? You know what I mean? There is none. And the kind of like the brilliance of this ruling class is providing you with the illusion of sideline, the illusion even of a political choice or a no person's land or some kind of vacuum where no. Even right now as we speak, oppressor is going to gain something from this situation or the oppressed are going to gain something from that situation. And that's the annoying lens, aggravating lens, but necessary lens that you basically have to approach everything you do. Again, let craft to take care of itself on the back end according to the lens you're living by.
I really appreciate what you just said there, the lifting up that. I have a friend who's a visual artist, Isu Arundide.
That's my brother.
Yes, Isu says, we are living in the last days, D-A-Z-E, that thing about language, right? The acceleration of time finds us in a paradigm that's in entropy. And we have a choice. We can put a Band-Aid on this sucker and keep it going. or we can choose to choose humanity. And we can let this paradigm that is very much material-centered, not human-centered. I'm talking to humans. Chairs can't hear me. So the paradigm we live in has to be centered around being. And when I say humans, I don't separate us from animals. We're animals. We're sentient. The trees, the environment we sit in. So if there's any vote to be made about anything, you either vote for life or you vote for death at this point, you know? And so everything should be about humanity winning. And I know they want us to leave, so I get to have the last word. So I'm gonna give you a good one, okay? I need for you to understand that when we think about the end of the world, the last days, this planet, the blue ball isn't going anywhere. Ask the dinosaurs. The planet will remain. It's our choice whether or not we remain.
Right on.
Give it up, Ayodele Nzinga, the Oakland Poet Laureate, and Tongo Ison Martin, the San Francisco Poet Laureate. Congratulate yourself. So without further ado, I want to thank all of you for coming this afternoon, and I would like to bring back the astounding Mia Pixley.
Thank you, Ayodele and Tongo. Just, I don't know what else. I mean, just no words. So thank you. I'm just gonna play 2 more songs to accompany you out, or whatever you want to do with yourselves. This first song is an instrumental song. It's inspired by the ocean, from which we all came from, and also it was part of an outdoor theater play called When Your Skin Calls You Home, and yeah. So just, it's kind of ambient. Thank you. And this last song is a lullaby that I wrote for my son, who's actually here. He's in the little red sweater. It's called All the Light. And yeah. Baby, take all my love. Take all my love. Take all my love into your heart. Take all my peace. Take all my peace. Take all my peace into your soul. Take in all my light. Take all my light. Take in all my light into your eyes. Into your eyes. Take in all my light. Take all my peace. Take all my love. Into your heart. Into your heart. Into your heart. Thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Give it up one more time for everyone. And for yourselves. Look at you being all cultural and whatnot. You're about to go have a great day. So thank you very much. My name is Nazila. It's been my pleasure to be here with you. And thank you to the Oakland Museum of California. And in that regard, please welcome back up Emily Eklund.
Thank you all so much for being here. Thank our artists again one more time. This is our free lunchtime series, music, dance, and storytelling every Thursday and Saturday. And this is an organic experience. It's as much about who shows up in the audience as who's on stage. So we welcome you back. We hope you'll come and join us again. Up this coming Saturday is a musical trio, Radio Cafe, and next Thursday is spoken word artist Mark Marcel. So you can check out our website, museumca.org, for the full lineup. You can sign up for our e-newsletter there as well, which will give you all of our upcoming info. Please stick around. This is your space, so hang out for lunch and for conversation. We do have books over here for sale, both by Ayodele and Tonga. Chicago. And you can find more of Mia's music, miapixley.com. So thank you all again. They'll be here. We'll be here. My name is Emily. If you have questions, and you may see some of our fabulous staff walking around with clipboards. They have a couple of survey questions for you, and we really appreciate your support in filling that out. It does help us to make sure we're giving you what you want to be here for. So thank you again. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.